Even if you memorize tons of SAT vocab, chances are you will still run into few unfamiliar words in reading. There are so many vocabularies in English. So, how do you approach when you don't know certain words in reading? I will demonstrate you the process. Here's a sample SAT reading passage from practice test 3. The first passage is from the Schwartz-Metterklum method fiction, published in 1911, and the main character is Lady Carlotta. As you solve each problem, you realize that the sentence in lines 10 to 14 is important. Let's read it. Certain of her acquaintances were wont to give her plentiful admonition as to the undesirability of interfering on behalf of a distressed animal, such as interference being none of her business. Okay, perhaps you don't know the words wont and admonition, but the good news is that you can still figure out the overall meaning of the sentence by focusing on the nouns. Learn to deliberately ignore the unknowns and get the meaning with the nouns. Unfamiliar words like wont and admonition show up in the first part of the sentence, and the sentence is followed by the add phrase to describe its main part. The later part of the sentence tells us that her acquaintances think of her behavior as undesirable and view her interference as none of her business. So we can see how her acquaintances think of her. In this case, Lady Carlotta as a nosy person who meddles with all kinds of things. Now, such interpretation may not be perfect, but that's okay. As long as you can figure out the main idea of a sentence, it is more than enough to solve a question correctly. Think of it as a practice to figure out jumbled conversation over a poor signal on phone. It's a frustrating experience, but still you can figure out what other people are saying with some words that you understand. Let me give you another example with another sentence from the same passage. She was one of those imperfectly self-assured individuals who are magnificent and autocratic as long as they are not seriously opposed. In this sentence, maybe you don't know what autocratic means. That's totally fine. The SAT doesn't require you to be a perfectionist in vocab. Let's fill in the gaps by figuring out the whole context of the sentence. The first part of the sentence gives us about the quality of the main character. She was one of those imperfectly self-assured individuals. Self-assured means self-confident. So we can see that Lady Carlotta is a person full of confidence, though imperfect. The later part of the sentence tells us that she is magnificent and autocratic as long as she is not seriously opposed. So we are given a condition of her being magnificent and autocratic. Unless she is not seriously opposed, she is magnificent and autocratic. That's imperfectly self-assured. I mean, a fully confident person will not depend on the outward environment to be confident. Because she is imperfectly self-assured, she has to be in a setting where she is not seriously opposed in order to be magnificent and autocratic. Here, we can spot several related keywords. Notice how she is imperfectly self-confident. She doesn't like to be seriously opposed and likes to be magnificent. So, even if you don't know the word autocratic, which means domineering, bossy, or like a dictator, you can figure out all the important meaning in this sentence. When you focus on the nouns and try to ignore the unknown, you can grasp the context correctly. Hope you like my demonstrations. Smash the like button and subscribe to this fantastic channel. Good luck with the reading section.